Polyglot Frank here, welcome back. Today we're gonna check the topic immersion, bringing language into life. Before going into details when it comes to this topic, I just want to clarify there are two types of immersion. There is the active immersion and the passive immersion. Okay, so these two types of immersion are very important. In the end, everyone learns in a different way. Okay, some other people like more passive immersion, some other people like more active immersion, and depending on the level that you have in a language, let's say you're a beginner, you're gonna need a combination of two or one and a specific one or the other. Okay, active immersion is basically when you practice a lot your speaking skills, let's say in conversation, role plays, debates, etc. When you, for example, you in a writing practice, right, to reading the newspaper, for example, social media posts, you're reading something, right? Interactive exercises, when you do grammar exercises, quizzes, flashcards, etc. And direct engagement, when you ask questions and you're responding in real time, right? This is active immersion. It is very important. And there are other types of active immersion, but I guess that with these examples you already know what it is. The passive immersion is when you passively are getting the language, like listening to music, listening to a podcast, listening to any conversation. That's a type of immersion as well. When you're watching a movie, a TV show, a series, you are also doing a passive immersion, right? When you're reading books, articles, blogs, right? That's another type of passive immersion. And basically, when you are studying, right, you're noticing patterns, pronunciation, the observation. This is also a type of passive immersion. Okay, why this is important? Why this is important? Because depending on your level at the language, you're gonna have to implement one of those type of immersion to be able to absorb the language. Okay, and now we're gonna check by basically our main topics. Daily language integration, right? You need to integrate the languages, these types of immersion. You have to integrate them in your daily routines every day. For example, let's say that you have to go shopping, for example. You have to walk a long distance. Maybe you walk in the morning. Maybe you are going to go shopping and it's going to be maybe about an hour in the road, for example. You can implement a type of immersion here, right? Whether it is listening to your favorite podcast, listening to audiobooks, listening to something that is going to keep the language feeding your brain and absorb your brain keeps absorbing this language, and you need to do this every day. Immersion is basically very important to learn languages. Have you seen people that they speak a language that you want to speak, for example, or any type of language, right? Or this could be applied to any area, right? But when it comes to languages, I've seen people that speak so good a language, and sometimes difficult languages to learn, and when you ask them how they did it, they're gonna tell you something like, sometimes oh, I'm just, listening to music, watching series, and I have a friend who I speak with every day, for example. This person is doing the immersion system, right? Unconsciously, because they love so much the language that that everything that they do involves doing something that it relates to learning the language or practicing the language. So you need to daily integrate these routines, whether it is listening to your favorite podcast or favorite topics, right, in the language that you want to learn. You have to find what is it that you like. If you like to listen to music, you have to look for music in the target language. If you like reading books, if you like reading uh, comics, whatever, you have to find a resource in the language that you can actually implement, since this is what you like. All right. The other thing that I want to talk about is engage with native media. Okay. And this is related to what we were talking about in previous topics. You have to get the right pronunciations from the start. Okay. It's not like you have to have the right pronunciation when you speak, but it is important that you listen to the right pronunciation when you speak. And you can only do this if you engage with native media. Okay. The podcasts that you're going to listen to, the music that you're going to listen to, the shows, the videos that you're going to listen to have to be basically videos with a very good pronunciation or native media that you can actually, when you listen to this sound and you learn the sound correctly, right? You have to be sure that this sound that you're learning, which later on you're gonna be able to speak, right? And if you get the wrong sounds from the beginning, you're gonna reproduce the wrong sounds. So this is why it's very important with some nasal languages that you have to pronounce this way, and nasal sounds, things like that. You have to be able to listen, get a lot of info uh, into your brain when it comes to the right pronunciation. And you could only do this if you engage with native media, the podcast that you're gonna listen. I understand, let's say you want to speak Spanish, but there are a lot of people that speak Spanish that they're not native speakers. But at the beginning, you wanna listen to native speakers to get the right sounds, right? And this can only happen if you engage with native media. And the last thing we're gonna talk about is when it comes to real world practice opportunities. I've seen a lot of people that they understand a lot, but they can't speak. I've seen people that they have this understanding of a language and they know a lot of grammar also. They know a lot of information, even um, a lot of details that only advanced speakers basically manage, right, when it comes to a language. But they only know this by memory. They learn these things and they also understand the language, but they cannot speak. So this is when real world practice opportunities basically is going to help you. You have to seek conversation partners or join language exchange groups. For example, those type of people that they understand a lot is because they received a lot of input. All of the input were passive immersion input, right? They uh, got to watch a lot of series in the target language. They got to listen to a lot of audiobooks, music, etc., right? And they never got to speak. They never got to have a conversation. They never got to express their minds. And then when it comes when the time comes for them to express their mind, they are not able to because they did not practice, they did not speak. So getting someone to speak with, a conversation partner, is very important. Okay. And getting someone, for example, some people get someone that let's say they teach them their language, and the other person teach the person the language. So a language exchange, right? I'm teaching you my language, you're teaching me your language, and so on. This way basically is I could practice, you can correct me, you can talk, I can correct you, and so on and so forth. So basically, this is very important because most of the people in these situations, right, feel bad because they are not able to speak. They understand a lot, they understand what the other people are saying, but they are not able to express their minds. Sometimes they don't feel okay with speaking. If they feel ashamed, they don't want to speak. They get nervous when they try to speak because they haven't gotten real world practice opportunities. And these opportunities you can't wait for this opportunity to come to you. You have to go get the opportunity. You have to seek conversation partners yourself, because if you just stay like that and just listening, getting a lot of passive immersion, right? Because those people, that is what they're getting, passive immersion, listening to things, reading things like that, uh, um, um, right? But when it comes to the fact that they have to have a conversation, they get nervous, they start sweating, they start mixing words, they start forgetting things, right? And they think that that's because of them. So you have to take that into account when it comes to learning languages as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. Like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, tell me what facts or surprises you the most about this topic, and see you in the next video.